Hey everyone, welcome back to the Pauper Premier League. I'm Alex Holman. I'm here once again with Joseph Aranu, who just got boggled.
I got boggled. Not afraid to admit it.
You and Bogles seem to not get along very well. For those of you who don't know, Joseph lost the finals of the Pauper MCQ at Grand Prix LA to Bogles.
I kind of like playing against Bogles, honestly. I really don't hate it. Like, it's just straight up. It's like they try to do their thing and you try to, like, do your thing, which is hopefully stopping them. And then, like, somebody wins. It's just kind of straight up.
Yeah, you know, you had your game one, that was game one where you just got the temporal fissure. Not temporal fissure. Oh, God, we haven't had that card in the format in years. Temporal Springlock, where it was like, okay, I'm just going to keep putting land on top and I'm going to keep drawing cards and you won't.
Yeah. That's pretty sweet. That's what my deck's trying to do. It always feels good. Love doing that.
Oh, yeah. Making it so your opponent can play Magic, just as Richard Garfield intended.
And, like, most of your opponents in the league, they'll let you keep playing, so then you just get to, like, go God mode and just do whatever you want.
God.
I actually had multiple matches where I had 0 cards in my deck, and, like, I could get into a position where I could make it so both of us couldn't deck. Like, I could make myself not deck a return. But I also forgot to do that sometimes and I actually decked myself.
So I definitely once had a match, this is years ago, where I was playing, I think it was a Marasatron Mirror, and I had locked a Muldrifter under O-Ring, and my opponent it's game 3, drawing, and I'm like, okay, I have this capsize. I can stay alive, but I have to bounce this O-Ring when they have no cards left in their deck. And that's how I won. And it was just one of those really, you know, you see those lines like 10 turns in advance and you're like, okay, this is how I'm going to win because I can't get through on the ground. But you know what? I'm not playing tonight. Kendra's taking over for Emma, who's under the weather. She's playing Chris, who has a chance to go 3-0 tonight. They're ready, so let's go down and see some Elves versus Bogles. Joseph, who do you like in this matchup?
I was thinking about it. I'm not super experienced in the matchup. I've never really played either of these decks, but I feel like Bogles should maybe be favored just because Ancestral Mask is pretty messed up, and I don't really feel like the Elves can interact with it that well.
Yeah, so I was looking at the sideboards, and this really comes down to a few key cards, a lot of which are here. So the cards are... being on the play is huge for Kendra because it means that she is going to be able to just put a ton of damage on right now.
Yeah, starting out with a 5/1 Bogle is not the best in the face of a Llanowar Elf.
It looks like Kendra skipped an attack. You know what?
Well, no, it was intentional because she didn't want to trade the Bogle for the Elf.
Yeah, you're right.
So let's see what Chris decides to go for. He looks like he's just going to set this Well-Wisher up, and that is pretty scary to just have that online immediately. And there's not really anything Kendra can do about it except...
draw another Ancestral Mask?
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good thing to do about it. That's going to exponentially increase the power of her Slippery Bogle.
Yeah.
And she's going to start going to town.
This is interesting. If Chris survives this turn, which isn't a guarantee, he can put a ton of power and toughness on the board, but more than that, he can gain a ton of life with Well-Wisher. So he's going to go up to 16, but I think... How big is that?
Just too much. The Ancestral Mask brings the Bogle up to what looks like a 17 power creature, which... I think he's actually just dead on the spot.
No, he's not. He can block, gain life.
Right. I forgot to count the gain 5. But yeah, so he has to chump, though, which is going to leave him in a pretty rough spot here.
It's not as rough as it seems, because he has Priest. Priest is 4 mana, and that's pretty good. So, yeah, I think you lead with Winding Wing, hope to find a Quirion Ranger, which you don't. That is leaving you in a pretty tough spot. But you're not dead yet. You're not necessarily doing great, but you're not dead. So Chris can play out Huntmaster.
So what? He goes Huntmaster, and then he can play 2 elves afterwards?
Just one.
He has to make 17 points of toughness, right? Or, I mean, I guess like half of 17.
Yeah, no, he sees it. It's over. That was fast.
Yeah.
So sideboards, I actually think favor Chris only because Emma did not put any standard bearer in her sideboard, while Chris has access to Lethal Sabotage and more Well-Wisher. You know, the cards that Kendra can bring in are Gutshot and Electrickery.
Where's the Electrickery?
They're already in. They're already in.
So that makes sense. Let's see. I still feel like Kendra's favored if she can draw multiple copies or like any copies of Ancestral Mask. Like, just seems really, really hard to beat from Chris. But I guess now post board, I feel like Chris is probably favored post board now that you can have Lethal Sabotage. That seems like it really kicks his deck up a notch in the matchup.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like Chris brought in any Spider Silk Armor or any way to defend against the Electrickery, so...
That's pretty interesting. I think that's like a reasonable play from Chris. But I guess with this open deck list format, it's maybe a little less reasonable.
Well, I think
she's going to have the Electrickeries, right?
I think it's a matter of what you want to take out. There's only so many cards you can take out and still have Elves be a functional deck.
Yeah.
You know, the one interesting thing is most Elves decks I've seen have 13 land. Chris is on 14, which is a little different. You know, having that extra land, you know, we've seen him draw a ton. Not that, you know, drawing a ton of land is good or bad, but both of these hands, who do you like? Both these hands are great in a vacuum, but
I feel like I'd probably just like Chris's hand a bit more, just because Kendra's hand, she needs one more piece. She needs to draw like another land for her hand to really be fully online. Whereas Chris's hand is just kind of has everything he needs.
I mean, I don't think you can mulligan that hand if you're Kendra, and she doesn't.
I agree.
This hand is great from both players, so...
Yeah. It's definitely a good hand from Kendra. She has the Utopia Sprawl, one of the best cards in the deck. Just gonna let her ramp on turn 1 into either a Gladecover Scout with an Ethereal Armor or a Silhana Ledgewalker, and we'll see which one she picks.
So what's going to happen here is looks like Chris is going to have Well-Wisher with double Quirion Ranger.
That's pretty broken.
That's just a lot of life. But here comes Kendra.
Okay, Kendra with the land on the top, easy land. And she's just going to go ahead and play the Ledgewalker, strap it up with an armor.
So Kendra's going to be coming in for 5-6 next turn at the very least. But how much life can Chris gain a turn? The answer's a lot. A lot of life.
Chris can gain a lot of life, but I'm looking at this Heliod's Pilgrim in Kendra's hand, and...
it can get a mask.
It can get a mask. Mask is pretty good, as we saw in other games. And it combines pretty well with double Armadillo Cloak. We might have a life gain battle here, folks.
We are definitely going to end up in a life gain battle, because what's going to happen is Chris can gain, at this point, 21 life a turn cycle with Well-Wisher. 24 life a turn.
Yeah, 24 life a turn is a lot. And with this Timberwatch Elf too, he's going to be able to
a lot of damage
and defend a lot.
But I don't know if it's going to be enough to really put a dent in Kendra's life total long term. I mean, so let's say Chris takes a turn off to Heliod's Pilgrim. Kendra takes a turn off to Heliod's Pilgrim.
Yeah, she definitely can't really do that yet. The Ethereal Armor does give her something to do in the meantime, but it's not a very mana efficient play here with her having 3 mana. She wants to be casting her 3 mana cards so that once she draws a 4th mana, she can play a 1 mana card and a 3 mana card.
Chris smartly does not go all in on Well-Wisher, otherwise he wouldn't be able to really do anything with this Timberwatch Elf. He's going to knock Kendra down to about 21, 22 this turn, but next turn, if Kendra draws an untapped white source, of which there's one in her deck, she'll be able to armor and cloak.
So she rips the green source, not exactly what she was looking for. And that's going to make her hand actually pretty awkward here. She's got 3 white cards. She can only play 1 this turn, and her non-white card, her Gladecover Scout, is pretty not exciting here.
It's actually actively bad because it's an elf, and it counts towards...
Oh my goodness, I didn't realize that.
It counts towards Chris's Well-Wisher and his Timberwatch Elf.
Wow, that's so funny.
So that's 5... 6, 7, 8, 9. So Kendra's going to go up to 29, 38. But I think she's just dead.
Yeah, this looks like a lot of damage. What is this? Because it's going to be 9 times 3 is 27. He gets 3 Timberwatch activation.
It'll put Kendra to 3. Put Kendra to 3.
So he can put Kendra down to 3. He can gain a lot of life. But, I mean, where Kendra's dealing 9 points of damage a turn, CVM he's able to do 27 like we just talked about.
He can deal 35 points this turn, but...
Yeah, 35 points, which is just way more than Kendra's putting out.
Yeah, but Kendra's also gaining at least 18 life a turn, and with that next Ethereal Armor, she's going to be gaining another 8 life a turn. I think you're right. I think Kendra's going to win this one, because eventually what's going to happen is that Heliod's Pilgrim's going to find a... What's that card? Ancestral Mask. And it might find it fast enough that Chris can't win.
Yeah, we'll see here. The double lifelink on Kendra's creature is doing a lot of work to keep her in the game. But...
or you can just draw naturally.
Oh, that is insane. That is absolutely
That is a huge draw. So this thing is...
It's going to be like 27 power, I think.
Yeah, that puts her up to...
a lot.
That puts her up... It's going to take a lot for Chris to win this game. Chris needs to rip Lead the Stampede for 5 elves, play them all, have some of them be...
Sure Chris actually has draws. If he gets another Quirion Ranger would add a whole nother bunch of damage with his Timberwatch.
But he has to deal 50 now.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's actually going up to like 67.
So 67. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris has outs.
Let's see. He's got it's 27 plus like however many elves he has out.
That's not it.
That's not it.
This is going to Kendra, and you know what? Astro Bogles didn't get it done last week. It's getting it done this week.
Well, this one has no astrolabe. So
no, it's just straight up Bogles.
Regular old Bogley boys.
The Slippery boys.
Slippery boys.
Oh, you know what we didn't? You know what we forgot? Silhana Ledgewalker is an elf too.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, it's an elf.
That's so funny. Okay.
Our math has been off all match. But I think this is it. Kendra can go get a Ranker here and just pile on more damage. Because Ranker's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more damage on its own.
And the Ledgewalker did a lot of work this game. If that had been any of the other Bogles, all of a sudden Chris is just able to block with the creature, untap, and make like $1 million, or pump it for like 50 or something with his Timberwatch Quirions.
So let's see. What's going to happen here? That thing is huge. But Chris can gain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Chris can gain 33 life and go up to 40. But that's going to leave him with 1 land drop next turn, which means he can only do the Well-Wisher trick twice, and he sees it. It's over.
Wow.
Emma is now 3-3. So
Emma's 3-3.
Emma ran the table tonight, soaked up a whole bunch of wins, is 3-3. You and Chris, that's it. You win, Chris is out of the playoffs, or is also at 3-3. Right now, with only 2 players at 4-2, it's possible 3-3s could make it, depending on the outcome of next week. It's not likely, but there could be a glut. But if Chris wins, he moves to be our third 4-2 player with Brian DeMars and Brian Koval. So it's, it's up to you, Joseph. Are you going to Dream Crush?
I would say probably not. I played a little bit of this matchup. I really do not have a lot of ways to interact with the Elves deck, but we'll see. I'll try my hardest to Dream Crush.
Okay, well, we'll find out in just a few short minutes. We'll be back. See you in a few minutes, folks.